All right, well, hello, peers in EDCI338. Today I'm going to show you my lesson plan. So I'm going to take you on a guide through my screen here. We're just going to go to focus view so it's nice to see. So I'm going to explain to you a little bit about what this lesson is about, the different aspects of it. I've made 4 phases to this lesson. I'm going to explain a bit of my rationale, show you what social media apps I'm incorporating into this lesson to make it a personalized learning experience for the students. So, as you can see here, it is a physical health education 10 lesson plan. So for grade 10 students, I'm a secondary B.Ed student, so I wanted to focus on something that was relevant to high school students and that I could use in the future. So that's the title. As we scroll down here, you can see that it's the unit that the lesson is in is a Healthy Choices unit. I chose this because I'm passionate about nutrition and healthy living, and I wanted to make a lesson specifically about healthy eating, nutrition ideas. So ideally, it would be on a date, April 1st, we're going to say it is. It's at fictional secondary school, grade 10 PHE. The duration of the class is 1 hour and 20 minutes. Some of the core competencies that we find here are taking ownership of goals, learning and behavior, sustaining a healthy and balanced lifestyle, taking responsibility for physical and emotional well-being, and choices that can keep people safe in their community and online interactions. So we're talking about healthy eating, just self-awareness, as well as being able to use social media as a tool to record what we do, to expand on our learning, and to work along with other people in a collaborative environment. So the big idea that I want to focus on here was that healthy choices influence and are influenced by our physical and emotional and mental well-being. So it's not just that choosing to eat well influences those things, but also just our well-being in turn actually has an impact on how we choose to live our lives and how we choose to eat and things like that. So there's a bit of a two-way relationship there with healthy choices and our well-being. So the curricular competencies that I've found in the BC curriculum are analyzing how health-related decisions support the achievement of personal healthy living goals. And then in content, it's short-term and long-term consequences of health decisions, including those involving physical activity, healthy eating, sleep routines, and technology. So ideally, my unit would cover all 4 of these things, and maybe they're interconnected, and it is in this way in physical activity, healthy eating, technology. Something like sleep routines I would want to chat about as well. It's a little bit difficult to maybe do a lesson on sleep routines, but I think it's very important as well to be incorporating that into our curriculum so that students aren't just learning how to play sports and have fun being active, but how there's different aspects in our life that we need to be looking after as well to maintain an overall well-being. So that includes sleeping, and we know for teens that's extra important. So the learning context here is that I'm just explaining some of the things that I think the students will have already learned, or maybe things to be aware of. So as I mentioned before, the lesson is in a unit that covers a variety of healthy behaviors, and as I just mentioned, students know the benefits of physical activity, technology, so that's kind of the platform I'm building off of to create a lesson that uses technology and social media in a physical and health education class. So being able to use some of those basic tools, like knowing how to use some of the Google apps and Pinterest and stuff, and I'll get to that in a second. So yeah, they're familiar with incorporating technology. And then as well, I just want to note that a form would have been sent home to identify any food allergies that are present, because there will be some food in this class, specifically fruit and vegetables. So moving on, outline, I'm going to do a quick summary of what I've laid out here. So the introduction, it's a warm-up activity. I called it Blend It, came up with a game. It's kind of like British Bulldog, where students are on one side of the gym and they try to make it to the other. This is just to get their heart rate going. They're wearing 4 different colors, and those colors coordinate with different parts of Canada's food guide, and that's been updated recently. So that's kind of what I built a bit of my ideas around, and I'm not going to explain all the rules there, but I think you get the idea. On to our second phase, it's a healthy snack break and discovery. So I always find that if you're able to provide food and something just healthy, I remember in my PE classes having having a day where our teacher had brought in some snacks was always a highlight. So I wanted to do that. It wouldn't be something we do every lesson, but but this is something I wanted to do today. So you maybe have some orange slices, bananas, some water for them, and then you're going to go into a little research project where they use Google Docs to research some like superfoods, some things that maybe they are aware of, or maybe some things that the teacher has brought in, and then they split into new groups and describe what they're learning based on what they had found as a group. So that kind of is self-guided, but it's kind of scaffolded and supported by the teacher. Third phase is stations. So there's 4 stations in the class. One is researching the Canada's food guide, so that'll be done by having some posters, or maybe they'll go online. Station 2 will be stationary bikes for 10 minutes. They're just going to sweat for a while, ride the bike. Then they're going to move on to a healthy eating Pinterest board. So this is one of the areas I want to focus on, and it's the first step in a larger project throughout the unit. And it enables the students to go onto Pinterest, make a board called Healthy Eating, and then research things like recipes, maybe some articles, some ideas about Canada's food guide, just things maybe they know, things that they want to learn more about, or just some things that they're maybe passionate about. So that's kind of expressing a bit of themselves in a personalized learning way, and using a social media app to do that. And lastly, we end with a warm-up activity, which is a stretching circle. They've been on the bike. Sorry, I forgot to mention station 4 was skipping ropes, dumbbells, mats, and the students all kind of rotate around those. Anyways, lastly, we end with stretching circle, and then a Google Forms survey during the 5 minutes at the end or at home. And I have the Google Forms survey as well that I'll attach here, and I'll show you guys in a second what that's all about. You can participate in that too, so that's kind of fun. Assessment, there's a mark out of 3. It's basically that they're participating, they're evident that they're sharing in their groups, and they're answering probe questions that the teachers may be throwing out throughout the lesson. And that's a way that they can assess what is happening during the lesson. At the end, we want to make sure that they have done the Google Forms, so they answer a few questions. And then as well, throughout the whole unit, the teacher is assessing the students based on the proficiency scale from BC curriculum. So that ranges from emerging, developing, proficient, and extending. And the student can self-assess, and then the teacher might also assess during that, or using that form as well. So digital literacy framework, if you'd like to read through this, feel free. It kind of identifies some of the areas I felt were relevant towards this unit. Personalized learning. So students have the opportunity to be creative. They express their understanding. The student is at the center of the learning, which is what I really wanted to focus on. And then I ran through some of the creative framework, and as well, if you want to read those, that kind of outlines how I've met personalized learning in this lesson. And then if you ever want to do this lesson, here's some of the resources and materials that I have identified that you can use. Modifications are also really important, especially in PE class where students maybe are coming at different ability levels. That's something to be aware of as well. I think there are some more areas as well, but that was the kind of main one in the physical activity stations that I wanted to point out there. Rationale, you can read that. That's my passion behind this, and the reason why I think it's important, and how I'm using social media and personalized learning to create an equitable learning environment for all students where they can be successful in PE and hopefully take those skills and take them with them outside of school and into their lives. So references, and lastly, here's an example of the Pinterest board that I created. It identifies some things like benefits of drinking lots of water, some of the ideas around Canada's food guide. You can see the updated one here, which is half plate fruits and veggies. Maybe the meat and alternatives is much more different alternative protein options, and then whole grains and stuff like that. So it's just kind of colorful and fun, and I think students can really express themselves through that. And then lastly, this is the Google Forms. This is just a screenshot of the top. You can answer some of the questions here I made for the EDCI peers, and then there's also some questions for the students. So let's exit here and quickly show you what I put into the Google Forms. So here's some of the questions. You can answer them. Feel free to click on that link and fill that out. That would be really helpful. Here's a food guide sample of a poster that you can print off for students. And lastly, the framework for assessing. I'm just going to show you the proficiency scale if you ever want to use it. Right here, emerging, developing, proficient, and extending. Thank you guys very much for listening to my presentation. I hope you can use this lesson, and I hope you learned something from this today. Thank you.